I'm Dan Blackledge, president of Marion Bioenergy. We're based out of Rockford, Michigan. Yeah, I had a business in Kalamazoo called Blue Granite for a number of years and sold that in 2005. And I've owned a farm for basically all my life. And I wanted to start another business. And so I was trying to find a business that I could combine both my farm and business with. I read an interesting research report from Michigan State University from a chemical engineer there that was working with oils to make biodiesel. And so I thought that might be something that would interest me. So I called him up and we had lunch. And what he needed was canola oil to do research for the fuels, for the biofuels he was working on for various corporations and federal contracts and so on. And he's having trouble finding canola oil. And so I had the farm up here, so I told him, I think I can probably figure out a way to grow canola oil for you. The chemical engineer and I worked with at MSU, and I wrote a grant to the Ag Experiment Station at MSU 2 years ago. And out of that grant we received funding for the last 2 years to take canola and see if we could grow it. And if we could grow it in viable quantities, harvest it, and ship it to market. And so we spent the 2 years doing that and proved in essence that we could do it. And now there is no funding from MSU, and the partnership that I have with MSU is just in the form of information sharing and research sharing. So like the field day we had today is an example of on my farm I can plant the crops. MSU helps to harvest the information that we learn from those crops. Weed control, pest control, planting date, planting amount of seed per acre, those kind of things. Well, as we looked more closely at canola oil, the researchers at MSU knew it was sort of the perfect oil for biodiesel. It embodies the right chemical properties for that. As we did research, we discovered that there's a whole lot of people out there and researchers that are now saying canola is the best oil for human beings too. It has the right chemical properties to be good for our body, low in saturated fats and lower in polysaturated fats and so on. And then it made sense both from an economic standpoint, but also from a social standpoint, and then from a growth standpoint. Really, it seemed like the market could only grow. And since it was a crop that could be grown in Michigan, and specifically in northern Michigan, it seemed also to be a crop that could help out farmers who were struggling to grow crops on the poor land in northern Michigan. And that's one of the things that we have also proven is that the sandier soils, the shorter growing seasons, and so on in northern Michigan are really very conducive to canola, much more so than they are, for example, to soybeans, which farmers are also experimenting with today. And we know there's not much corn grown for grain up here because the season's too short. So canola could become a good cash crop for northern Michigan farmers.